Logic Pro comes with a bunch of professional effects plugin suites for different usage: reverb, delay, saturation, pedals, and so on. So I'm gonna try to demonstrate all the effects plugins that comes with it. And if you haven't already, go watch my last video where I explain every single instrument plugin that comes with Logic. It's the one showing up now in the card in the upper right corner. It's a 33 minutes video and there is a lot to learn from it. But before we get into this one, please make sure to subscribe to this channel because it's all about music and music production, including Logic Pro X, and also because it helps me a lot and motivates me into making more tutorials and more in-depth videos. And now, without any further ado, let's go. Hello, this is Koka, music producer and sound engineer. Before we start the demonstration, I will be using the term signal, which is the scientific name of audio. So anytime I say signal, you'll understand that I mean audio. Now, we should first understand what an audio effect means. You see, audio effects can be broken down into 6 main categories. First, modulation. These are effects that creates a variation of the original signal but delayed and modified in a certain way. This comes down to the producer's preference. Second, time-based effects. This type of effects changes or alters the sound in a way that gives it depth, dimension to produce a short or long version of the original signal in space, in real time as the output produces the sound, like reverb, delay, and echo. There is spectral. Spectral effects is basically splitting the audio into a band from 20 to 20 kHz and then modify these bands as desired instead of altering the entire audio spectrum as a whole, also called spectral editing. If there is one thing you should master first, it definitely should be spectral editing. And then we have dynamic. Dynamics are the most essential and important part of every audio editing process. Dynamic effects' main job is to edit the volume of an audio signal to compensate the quiet parts and make it even or close to even with the loudest part. You should know that dynamic editing impact isn't noticed by the average listener because it sounds right. Fifth, we have filter plugins or filter effects. What filter effects does is essentially boost or cut a specific range or frequencies without the others. And then last, pitch. These effects only alters the pitch frequency of a signal by semitones, octaves, or intervals. You can do that manually using Logic Pro X Flex Pitch Engine, or a third-party plugin like Melodyne, or do it in real time like other tune plugins. And now let's start by the modulation plugins. First we have the chorus. Chorus creates a duplicate of the original signal and can be altered via the rate knob. This is the rate knob. The delayed signal of the wet signal is then mixed with the original signal to create the chorus effects. It makes the sound wider in the stereo spectrum. And then we have the ensemble. Ensemble does the same thing as chorus. The only difference is that it creates multiple duplicates of the original signal, not only one. Hence, ensemble. You can choose up to 8 voices. And then we have Flanger. Flanger has the same concept as chorus, but he uses a shorter delay time. But instead of using LFOs, which stands for low frequency oscillator, it uses the volume to shape the delayed signal. You can use this effect to your vocal as it enriches some frequencies and add more space. And then we have Microphaser. This is a cute little plugin to create the phasing effects. Consider it like a shortcut. But I don't recommend using it though. You can use the phaser plugin. And then we have Modulation Delay. This is just like chorus and flanger, but instead the delayed signal can be altered manually. You can set the delay time as desired, which gives you more control over the effects. If you're not a fan of using third-party plugins, you can use Modulation Delay to reach the lo-fi vibration. That's a very extreme plugin and give you total control over the chorus effects. Let's take a look for what he can do. And then we have the phaser. This one creates a duplicate of the original signal and makes it a bit out of phase. Means that the two signal reaches the highest and lowest points at a slightly different times. Be careful with this one though. Your signal can easily cancel each other out, called also phase cancellation. So if you want a video about this audio anomaly, leave a comment down below. The phase cancellation audio anomaly, I will make sure to create a more in-depth video about it. And then we have ring shifter. This is a highly useful plugin to get more of a metallic sci-fi sound. It's like an auto filter, but instead of sweeping around the audio spectrum, it sweeps around oscillator to get unpredictable sound. If you're a movie sound editor, this will help. Let's take a look about what you can do. And then we have Rotor Cabinets. I gotta admit, Apple did a pretty good damn job with this one, graphic wise and technique wise. Just imagine that you have a mic standing here, and then the speaker or the person singing is rotating around the mic. That means depending on the mic, the sound will get louder and quieter according to the signal position to the mic. This is just like the chorus effect, but in a more realistic way. This effect is also called Leslie effect. Vibrato. This is just like any other LFO shaper, but instead of altering or changing the volume signal, it alters the pitch of the delayed or the duplicate signal. The effect that this plugin provides cannot be reached with the other modulation plugins provided with Logic Pro. So if you want alternatives, I'm afraid you gotta use a third-party plugin. This one is your go-to for vintage lo-fi effects, like the one that RC20 Retro Color provides or Isotope Vintage. I love using it with piano personally. See how the sound automatically became vintage and sounds like an organ. This pass right here is the control the rate over the left ear and the right ear, so you have split channels to control them individually. Spreader. As the name states, this plugin makes the sound wider in the stereo spectrum by creating a duplicate of the original signal but delays the starting point. That point can be altered by the rate knob right here. But be careful, don't make the plugin effects intense if you're using it as an insert, because it could collapse your sound in the mono and won't be heard in many stereo speakers. If you're using it as a bass effect, make sure the bass feeds the original input by 50% or the amount that you desire. As you can hear, the sound is more wider now. I'm sorry if I'm not getting more in-depth and more deep into each plugin, because the video will be 50 years long this time, not 100 like the old video. Now let's go for Tremolo. This plugin's Tremolo alters and modulates the original signal without creating a duplicate. It's like the vibrato effect, but instead of modulating the pitch, It modulates the volume of the incoming signal directly. You can hear this effect used a lot in future bass synth leads and some rising up or down effects. You can get pretty much crazy with this one. You have nothing to worry about if the effect is applied at 100% intensity. And now let's go for the time-based plugins or effects. A short note before we start with time-based plugins. Know that these plugins are best applied as a bus. What I mean by a bus is input them at the bus, then choose a bus number, and then choose your time-based plugins, and then feed the bus to the original signal, but the amount that you're going for, that you desire, so you don't get your dry sound eaten by the wet signal of the effect. Our first time-based plugins are the delay, and the first in our delay category is Delay Designer. This is actually one of my favorites and one of the most powerful delay plugins I've ever used. You can literally design and control every aspect of the delayed signal. You can literally insert the repeated sound, also known as taps, manually, and give them the effects and modulations you desire. You can insert as much as 26 tapes and edit each one individually. Let's take a look. I'm gonna put it this time on the drums. Each one of these letters B, C, D, E, F are duplicates of the original signal. They are called tapes. They are called taps, I'm sorry, and they are the delay. This is the idea of delay. You can edit the level, the panning of each tap. The transpose means the pitch, the resonance filter, and then the cutoff filter. Let's feed it to a bus so you can hear the effects in solo. Now we are hearing only the effects. The dry signal is muted. This is definitely one of the most powerful delay plugins I've ever seen. So please make sure to and then just play with it. And then our next delay effect is the echo. The concept of delay cannot get any simpler. The echo plugin provides a delayed version of the original signal synchronized with the project tempo. That's all. This is the feedback, color, which is basically just the EQ of this signal. Sample delay. This is my main go-to when I want to do what's called the Haas effect. The delay plugin delays the signal coming from the right channel and from the left channel, or vice versa, depending on your preference. It doesn't provide duplicates of the sound, or as we called it, taps. The ending result is much wider and more stereo. As you can hear, the sound gets immediately wider. You can do that by samples or by milliseconds. And then we have stereo delay. This one basically splits the signal into two channels, left and right, and creates the taps over each channel individually. Maybe you want to have the delay applied over only the left channel. You can achieve that with stereo delay. It also gives you total control on the impact of the delay over each channel, like the EQ right here, and then the delay time. I'm gonna put it on the bass channel too, so you can hear only the effects. So this is where you edit the right channel, and this is where you edit the left channel. The delay time played on the right ear is now 334 milliseconds, whilst the other one, the left one, is played at 274 milliseconds. Now the delay is only playing on the left channel. And now let's put it only on the right channel. It's a very powerful plugin. And now let's go for a tape delay. If you want a vintage sounding delay, this is what you want to go for. It simulates the sound of old echo delay hardware. You have control over the free on-tempo synchronized delay. You also have control over the LFOs, which, just I explained before, produces the chorus effect. And this is the LFO. As you can hear, this is a chorus effect being applied as we increase the LFO rate. And now for reverb, let's add another bus. Our first reverb is ChromaVerb. This reverb plugin is solely dedicated to varieties of room reverb diffusions. It provides, as Apple states, a circular structure in which the sound is gradually absorbed. I don't honestly know what they exactly mean by that, but I like the graphics of this one, you know. You can edit the EQ of the reverb signal by going into the Details tab, a very beautiful and useful reverb for calming piano. It is always better to remove the low frequencies and the high frequencies from your reverb, so you get a much cleaner and much in-your-face reverb without getting clashing with the original dry signal. We should be putting reverb on a bus, but I did just, I don't know, forgot or something. And then we have InvertVerb or OnVerb or InvertVerb, I think that's the correct spelling. This reverb gives you control over the ADSR, which means attack, decay, sustain or release, also known as amplitude envelopes of the diffused reverb signal. This is such a good way to control your reverb. And then we have SilverVerb. SilverVerb basically makes a duplicate of only the reverb signal, which gives the chorus effects for the reverb. What a brilliant idea by Apple, I must say. If you can hear closely, there is a chorus effects being applied only on the reverb, only on the wet signal. Also control the LFO. The vibrato, I'm sorry, the vibrato, not the LFOs. This is modulating the pitch, not the volume. And then we have Space Designer. This is a convolutional reverb, which means that you're not framed only by physical reverb simulation, like the hall reverb, the room reverb, the plates, but you can also introduce your own new digital spaces and create a unique reverb diffusion. So basically this is how you can design your own reverb. This is reverb synthesis, if it's even possible to say this, but this is, as I see it, is a space reverb synthesis. Now moving on for the pitch plugins. First we have pitch correction. This is Logic Pro X's own auto-tuning solution. You can choose the scale from here and notes you're going for. Let's choose, for example, C major pentatonic, or you can input your own scale. Like you can turn off the notes that are not being in the scale, sorry, and then you can input your own notes. For example, for Arabic and exotic scale, if you have an extreme unique tuning that cannot be found or entered manually, you can alternatively edit the tuning setting inside Logic, which can be found here under File, Project Settings, and then Tuning. And then click on User, and then choose, and then edit the tuning of the notes that are not right according to your scale, to your own scale. Let's put, for example, 50 Hertz. I think the unit is Hertz. This is counted by Hertz. I'm not sure. This is best for vocals. This is auto-tune. This is basically auto-tune. You can apply it on vocals basically. I use it a lot on vocals. And then we have pitch shifter. You can use this one to integrate a pitch version of the original signal with the dry version into the same input. Let's have a listen what this plugin can do. Let's keep it on piano. As you can hear, there is now two signals, the original one and then the pitched one. Now it's 100% wet. And then we have pitched vocal transform. I'm sorry, this is self-explanatory. I will start demonstrating so you can understand the concept. So this is it for this video. If you've learned something, please don't forget to subscribe. It's the only thing I want in return. And also, what effects are you currently using in your DAW? Let me know in the comment section down below, as I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for watching and stay safe. Peace.